Brendan Kelly is the wonderful columnist over at the Montreal Gazette. He's got a column on hockey, and it's called What the Puck. Can you even say that? What the Puck? Can we even say that on radio?
Please.
Oh, well, if François Legault can say that, I guess we can say What the Puck. Brendan Kelly is on the line. Hi, Brendan.
Hey, Elias. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Listen, I loved your column this week. For everyone tuning in, you had a column this week taking aim at the spiraling cost of Canadiens tickets to go see a game at the Bell Centre. So you were first to this one. I should also note Journal de Montréal had a cover story where they said this.
Correct.
Une soirée de hockey à $748 avec les billets, les hot dogs et les bières. So, Brendan, why'd you write the column? Why are you so hopping mad over this?
Well, you know what? I mean, I'm not actually hopping mad, but I mean, I do think I thought it was a great question. I mean, there was it was the big launch of the Canadiens season on Monday with the golf tournament, and one of the journalists there asked Jeff Molson, president and owner of the Canadiens, about how can you raise ticket prices when you're basically the word of the day, my kind of line in What the Puck. What the Puck wit was, the Sesame Street word of the day at the tournament was patience, right? We're not going to be any good. Well, actually, slight exaggeration. We're not going to say the P word. Oh, my God, don't even mention the playoffs. I mean, how the mighty have fallen, from a team that used to always expect to win the Stanley Cup. But, okay, you're in reconstruction. We can say, I was, like many, saying, yes, we've got to go into reconstruction. We've got a crap team, got to start all over again. But so if you're not going to make the playoffs, you're going to lose way more than you're going to win. How can you justify raising the prices? And I looked at the tickets for the home opener is against the Chicago Blackhawks. It's going to be an exciting game, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's Connor Bedard, presumably his first game here in Montreal. And up in the nosebleeds, like literally the only tickets I could see available were in like the 425, which is really right at the roof of the Bell Centre. Not a great seat, not a great way to see the game. Those tickets start at 225 for a terrible ticket. And I'm just like, there's something wrong with this picture. So that's look, lots of people, including your colleague down the hallway, Mitch Gallo from TSN 690, are like, oh, it's the supply and demand. And I get it. I studied economics at McGill. It is supply and demand, but it doesn't make it right. Like it's too much. When your average person, and that was kind of the point of what was a very good column in Le Journal too, is when your average person can't take their partner and their two kids to see the game without, blowing the mortgage, I don't think that's cool. I think the Canadiens should think about stuff like that.
But so just to that point, Brendan, right? Because that is the big the best argument, right? And that is if the tickets are selling, that means the tickets are actually well priced, right? If they weren't well priced, they wouldn't sell.
Well, absolutely. But it also is, remember there was a huge controversy when they put on the tickets for sale for Bruce Springsteen this year, and it's that Ticketmaster variable pricing, and you had to pay a couple of grand. Yes, the market can bear it. Like, obviously, that's how it works. That's why they're selling these tickets at that price. But it doesn't make it right. And there were lots of Bruce Springsteen fans who were saying, hey, it's Bruce Springsteen. He's supposed to care about his fans and the ordinary people. And I would make the same argument with the Canadiens. I get it's a business. It's not a not-for-profit. Jeff Molson put together a plan to buy the team. But at the same time, and look, you could call me a woolly idealist, railing against the modern world. But I think the Montreal Canadiens means something more. They're not just Walmart. They're not just some other business out there. And I mean, obviously I'm right. Like they do mean an incredible amount to people. So I think you should have a social conscience. And, keep in mind the last figures that are available in terms of the finances of the Montreal Canadiens is that the team itself is worth $1.85 billion. And keep in mind that Jeff Molson and his consortium bought it for about just under $600 million. So it's almost tripled in value in the decade that he's owned the team. Mm-hmm. Their revenue is like $200 million, and their profits about $100 million a year. So they're doing okay. It's a tough world out there, and a lot of people are losing their businesses. This is not what's happening to the Canadiens. I think if you're in a reconstruction, like that to me is the key point. If you were the 1975-76 Canadiens and you're going to waltz into the Stanley Cup final again, and that was the other thing, and I got to give a shout-out to Jean-Nicolas Blanchette, who wrote that column in Le Journal. He compared to other teams, and he said, the teams that have raised their ticket prices are like Tampa Bay. Well, I'm sorry, like Tampa Bay's won a bunch of Stanley Cups and gone to the final. We haven't. We kind of sucked eggs for take a pick, 20 years, 30 years.
Hey, we had a good run in that pandemic season. But so we
absolutely did, and that was super exciting. But I mean, mostly we haven't. Let's be honest.
Let me give you another argument on your side here, and this is what I mentioned on the program briefly yesterday. Of all sports, the NHL right now with the system, because the players' union has been so weak over the last couple of decades, the cost control is there, right? They have this very, very rigid salary cap, and the Canadiens bring in so much money. So that's where I go, maybe you're onto something, because it'd be one thing if this was a team with a payroll that's 5 times, 4 times what everyone else is paying their players. NHL doesn't operate under that system, right? So they have some cost controls. And the U.S. TV deals, right? The ESPN and TNT deals have brought in a tremendous amount of money over the last couple of years.
It's interesting because there's some discussion this week about the French language TV deals. So, and those end in, I think, 25-26 season, at the end of that season. So TVA, Quebecor, paid $700 million to get the French language rights to the Canadiens and other games. RDS, apparently, which I didn't realize, they have what they call the regional games, which is the weekday games. They paid $800 million. So the largest chunk of both of those bits of cash, and those are extremely large sums, obviously go to the Montreal Canadiens because they're French language broadcasts. We're talking Canadiens games. So they're making... That's the secret of their success, is they make a lot of money from these TV deals. And the other thing is that they're basically sold out every single night. The best attendance, like the highest attendance in the NHL last season, was who? The best team? The Toronto Maple Leafs? No, it was the Montreal Canadiens, who finished 5th from the bottom. And look, a lot of the... part of there's been a whole debate on social media since I published that call. We published the column in the Gazette a couple of days ago. You could argue, and that's actually a better argument. The problem is the fans, because they shouldn't pay these ridiculous prices for a mediocre team.
You do it to yourself. You do it to yourself, Brendan, right? If we're going to pay the tickets, you do it to yourself. Brendan,
I've always said fan power, just to finish the thought. Fan power, they have it in Europe with the Premier League and football teams. Tell management you're unhappy with these prices.
Brendan, we could talk all day. We're running up against the clock here. I just want to say one of the reasons why I think you're so good at what you do. The Radio Canada column that you brought up there on the TV rights,
right?
It's a sleeper column, actually, because TVA is losing money. They may go out of business. There's not going to be the competition on the local rights coming up. The Canadiens are worried that the cash cow of RDS will go away if there's not a bidding, there's not a war for the rights.
Well, here's the scoop this morning, Elias. The cash cow is going away. They're not worried about it. They know it's happening because there is no way in the world. You've seen Pierre-Carl Pelledo has been very upfront about how much TVA Sports is losing. He's not going to be paying $700 million again, and there is no way in the world in the current TV market that RDS will pay $800 million. So they are going to, at the end of the 25-26 season, Canadiens are going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars, which is probably why they're charging these big prices at the rink.
If I had more time, I would write this story. I'm throwing this at you, Brendan. Please take this idea. So to what you just said, let me tell you something. The New York Yankees have a deal for local TV rights. There's a portion of their games in their local TV deal that's Amazon Prime. So RDS can't afford it. TVA Sports can't afford it. Let me tell you something. I would not be surprised if the next time the Canadiens have to do a local TV deal, you have to subscribe to Amazon or Apple or Fubo or DAZN, whatever it's called.
Whoa.
That future is coming, Brendan. It's coming.
I wouldn't be surprised, Elias. I think you make a great point there. Look what's happened with Premier League soccer. And we're all on those streaming services. Soon none of us will have cable.
And we all can't pronounce any of the channels' names. Brendan, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for the invitation, Elias. Appreciate it.
Brendan Kelly with the Montreal Gazette.